Hey, what's up? This is Cletus Coffey. Coaches, the number one thing that you can teach your athletes this year, number one, is self-awareness. Now let me explain. Imagine if you knew that your athletes currently, this coming season, in 4, 5, 10, 15 years from now, were suffering from lack of confidence, suffering from the ability to connect and communicate with their partner. Were struggling with an understanding of themselves. We're struggling with meaning and their happiness and their idea of reaching their future potential they feel is unattainable. What would that do for you today? How would you feel about that? I'm already going to answer it for you. I know you wouldn't want that. So you're in coaching here because you want to make an impact on young people's lives. I know that. If you weren't, you shouldn't be in coaching. But this is a very real problem that's happening right now because you have athletes who are rolling out of your program and are experiencing these things in their life. This disconnection, this gap, because of a lot of the things that they went through as an athlete in your program. So this year, it's not to put a better spin on the ball, a better stroke, or any other X's and O's that you could teach to really enhance their performance on the field and off the field. It's self-awareness. They need to understand that they are who they are. They're not a starter. They're not a second stringer. They're not a bench warmer. They are not a football player. They're not a basketball player. They're not a swimmer. That's not who they are. They are who they are. Because what's happening is athletes are rolling out of sport and they are believing that others' opinion about themselves should be their opinion of themselves. And that is a problem because they do not have a structure and a foundation of comfort in who they are because they didn't do any self-awareness work. And they believe that, oh, I'm an athlete. And someone else told me that I'm not a very good athlete. I'm a second stringer. So that's who I am. And then what happens is they get into the workforce and they take a job and someone says, you're not a very good salesman. And they think, oh yeah, you're right. I'm not a very good salesman. Where did they learn that behavior? They learned it early on in their youth in sports. So we want to break this trend. This trend of athletes who are rolling out of sport and aren't connected with who they are. And so they're listening to others. They're believing others, rather than starting from the inside out. So the number one thing you could teach them is to understand who they are, and I encourage you to do the work. As well, because it's something that they need to understand and start hearing from you and seeing you do it early on. Now I get it. There's a role to play on your team, and in any organization, there's a role to play. You're going to have players on the field. You're going to have players sitting on the bench. I totally get that, and they need to understand that there's going to be those types of structure in organizations outside of sports. I totally get it. However, they need to be able to build confidence and knowingness about themselves so that they don't roll out believing what other people say, or even in sport in general, believing what others say about them is actually the truth, because it's not. Just because someone isn't able to hit three-pointers like everyone else on the team doesn't make them a poor individual, doesn't make them a bench warmer in life, doesn't make them less of a human being. And that's what we're trying to create, is great, sound human beings, right? Who live from a place of character. And so I'm really encouraging you to teach the self-awareness to them this year. Teach them how to understand who they are. And there's a lot of simple tools that you can do in order to do that. A couple here. Obviously, you can send them away and have them just ask, what do you enjoy? What do you love doing? What gets you excited? Have them do some work understanding where have they dedicated hundreds to thousands of hours of their life to. Someone may be drawing or reading or leadership, right? Being in student government, things of that nature. Having them understand where they like doing things, then have them understand where they're getting feedback. Where are other people telling you, hey, you are putting a great effort towards this, or I saw you successful in this area, or I recognize that you've been doing great work in this capacity. So having them take note, that kind of universal tap on what they've done well, I mean, that's a listening skill, listening to what others are telling them about their effort that they're doing, and they can start to compile those into saying, okay, yep, this is who I am, this is what I like doing, this is what feels good to me, this is what makes me happy, this is what gets me excited. So the number one thing you could teach them this year is self-awareness, having them understand who they are. It's going to enhance their performance this year in your program, and you're building a foundation for them to be successful in life after sports. Good luck.